Well, here it is, Lenovo Duet. It's a Chromebook tablet, and I have been looking forward to this, well, till getting to this since it was introduced at CES back in January. And when it came on Wednesday, I was so excited. I did a video, and it was kind of an unboxing video, even though I'm not into unboxing videos, but I was just, as I was unboxing, sharing why I was excited about this. And I learned that it's important to make sure the microphone is actually working before you do a video. So I'm not going to see that video because there's absolutely no audio. But that gives me the advantage of being able to use this for a couple of days and being able to give my initial impressions after using it. Now, the reason why I was excited was because for work, I had to get one of these a couple of years ago. I think this is a 2018 iPad Pro. It's the 11.5-inch version. And it works really well as a tablet, of course. I mean, it's like the king of the tablets, but extremely expensive. I forget how much this one was, but I think with the keyboard, I bought the Logitech keyboard because I wanted to be able to use it in my lap if need be. I think it was 900, something like that, maybe 1,000. It was very expensive. And I like using these as tablets because they are very portable and mobile. But if I need to use the keyboard, it's kind of difficult because I'm going to want the kickstand on here. And this is actually easier than what it used to be. Snap it into place, make sure it's all snapped in so I can use the keyboard. It's got this nice little thing for the pen. But my problem was, most of the time I don't use the keyboard. And so I've got this big, bulky, case on there that I really don't want. And so then I think, am I going to use the keyboard? If not, then I start trying to unpry it. And sometimes it's easier than others. If I get it, there we go. If I get it just right, it's not too bad. But when I saw at CVS them advertising this guy, it is the size that I would want. It's a little bit smaller than the iPad, as you can tell, a little bit smaller, not much, but just enough to make the form factor a little bit more comfortable using it as a tablet. And when I saw it take the kickstand, and it's on, it's on, and then it's off, and then it's on, and you can take the keyboard, and the keyboard just snaps right on, and it changes from tablet mode to Chromebook mode or whatever, desktop mode. The iPad is basically the same mode, and I think now they've got like this magic keyboards that will have a trackpad. But for a long time I never had the trackpad, and it was kind of a pain because then I'd have to either use a pen or my finger or something, and I'd always want to grab down and use the pad. And those aren't huge deals. I mean, really, they're not. But this, when I read about how they designed it, how Lenovo designed it, I was excited. One of the things I love about the Chromebook is, oh, now it's telling me to move my phone closer. There it is. There's a little green lock. That's the smart lock, which means that my phone is nearby. And when your phone is nearby and that turns green, all you have to do is tap on, let me see, because my phone is just about out of reach. Tap on your profile pic and it logs you in. Wonderful, wonderful. Now I had a little bit of a problem setting this up because when it was trying to make that connection, it kept asking me to type in my actual password, but I kept typing in my PIN, thinking, PIN, password is all the same. Apparently not. Every time I tapped in my PIN, it would say, oh, we couldn't make the connection. Please type in your password to verify it's you. I would type in the PIN. It wouldn't work. Finally, when I read the instructions and typed in my password, it worked perfectly. and it still does, and it is great. Well, these are real world reviews. I don't really go over the specs. There are a lot of other places that will do that, review the specs. The gestures, many of you have probably already seen the gestures. You can go back, you can go forward. There are other gestures, swipe up, bring up your shelf, and if you, you can see all the apps. I find that as I use this, I'm using more and more apps, more than what I usually use on my Chromebook, because it feels like a tablet. Now I have a HP Chromebook X2 that's a detachable. It's, in my opinion, it's way too big to use as a tablet comfortably. Sometimes I do, but I never used it like what I'm using this with the Android apps. So that's been a pleasant surprise. One other surprise was with YouTube, and you can kind of see I have YouTube in here, and if I minimize this, of course it becomes a little video down there. But the thing that was surprising to me is if I have that running, and I go to my web browser, and I'm going to pause the video here. It continues to have that little window down there. This is something iPad Pro does not do. At least it didn't a couple of days ago. If I'm running something on YouTube and I minimize it, it just goes away. Prime Video, Netflix on iPad, it'll create that little window that you can watch as you're doing other things. YouTube, it doesn't do it. This tablet, YouTube, Netflix, Prime, all those will have that little window. And I don't know that I can do this on the iPad either. But if you look real closely, you'll see a couple diagonal lines. And if you pull that, you can actually resize that window somewhat. And of course, you can move the window to other places to get it out of your way. And the keyboard, this is kind of the one I've been using, is the same way. You can move that little guy wherever. This has been part of Chromebook for a while, and also the ability to write, let me see, you write something and it will pull up, something, it'll actually be input. So those are really nice features. It really helps in using a tablet when you don't have the keyboard attached. There are a few things that I don't like. I guess I'm saving those to the end. The number one thing is the speakers. Everything that the reviewers have been saying about the speakers, absolutely true. Not a lot of bass, sounds tinny, and plus they're not very loud. I will crank this thing and it just isn't very loud. If you're looking for something with great speakers for like media consumption, fantastic speakers, but 3 times as much. I don't know how the cheaper iPad compares with their speakers to what this is. I still think the cheaper iPad would be, the speakers would be better, but you don't get the keyboard with it, so you have to pay extra. So you have to, factor that in as well. I thought using my earbuds, my Bluetooth earbuds, would kind of fix that issue, the volume issue. No, I have Amazon Echo Buds, and I crank that all the way up, and it is at that point a comfortable listening level. Even though the earbuds have a noise reduction, I believe, I don't know if I was in a noisy place if I would be able to hear what I'm trying to listen to very well. The other thing, there's one USB-C for charging and for everything else. So, it'd be nice if there was a couple, but, one's doable. Also, from time to time, I will have issues with trying to hit up here, and it will not respond. It won't go back, but especially in Android apps. But there are other ways to, go backwards. And I found that if I always use this little guy down here, it will always take me back. And, from time to time, there have been, Android apps have crashed or maybe stalled. The good thing about Chromebooks, it only takes a few seconds to get back to where I was. The iPad does take a little bit, it does take some time to boot up. This takes almost no time at all. Although sometimes I don't know if it's off or it's on. So far, I do not think there's any indicator that it is on, and so I don't know how long it actually takes to shut down. And so I hit the power button thinking it's off, and it might not be. Well, I think that's about it. I am having an issue with the charger. I might mention that in case some of you have some suggestions. When I plug this into charge, when the charger is just plugged in, it doesn't do this. When I plug it into this, it will make a kind of a buzzing sound or a high-pitched sound. It's a little concerning to me. However, I have other chargers that I can use. One is a 30 watt. I've got a 65 watt. I'm hoping that's not an issue in charging this. If someone knows that that's not good to do, use a charger, 30 watt, 65 watt, 100 watt, whatever it is. Let me know in the comments. Also, if you have one of these, put it in the comments. What do you think? If you have any questions, again, put them in the comments. I will do my best to answer whatever questions you have. Oh, did I mention this thing's like $300? I should have led with that. It wasn't just the keyboard. It wasn't just how easy the keyboard went on and how easy the back went on. Really, the price. Right when I heard the price, it's like, you know what? I don't know what I'm going to have to do, but I'm going to make sure to get one of these, because having this as a tablet and having the full power of the Chromebook, I do a lot of stuff on my Chromebook. About 98% of all the stuff I do, I can do on my Chromebook, other than like video editing and a few other things. I don't do the video editing on Chromebook. But nevertheless, it's really the best of both worlds. Pixel Slate, I looked at that. It seemed a little bit too big. It seemed way too expensive. This really hits the spot. It's not a powerhouse by any means, but it's nice to have around, to be able to throw in my bag with the keyboard and stuff in case I want to do some work remotely, which during COVID-19 that's not happening too much. But nevertheless, I'm looking forward to once I'm able to get back into those places that I like to write at and do some of my work. So that's my real world review. I might come up with another one of these after I've used this for a while. But I will say I give it 2 thumbs up, 5 fingers up, whatever. I think it's fantastic, and it's really worked well in my workflow. Well, that's it for now. Hope you guys are having a great day, and enjoy your tech.